first bit of joviality came as we were headed out. I was going around in circles looking for my belt, and I started repeating something. It's probably, I was going to mention, kids, there's probably no telling how many shades or levels of bridging into non-thriving in society places I might have sort of viewed into and shared with you. This is about what it looks like 3 days before things just keep piling on, and this person ends up, well, there's little doubt that the way I handle stress or whatever, the way I can't really, it's kind of why I've been here. It's kind of why I worked at one place for 16 years, because I don't want the bullshit. And it seems like you need an awful lot to be able to approach anything from a positive place, from a, positive of negative. But anyhow, it wasn't as particularly ill-timed. Kind of sucks because I'm not saying I was just in free fall or anything, but we'd managed to swat down a couple smaller things and not be totally at zero again. It's all about money. I'm sitting here trying to not talk about money, and it's all about money. That's the whole thing, But today's situation was just, at least it didn't come through some other entity or whatever. And don't get me wrong, I wish those people just hadn't, honestly. I told him, I'm sorry you made the wrong call today, Just somebody to trim up the yard while they're taken out of town, and talking about camping out over the weekend and stuff, It sucks. Anyhow, the thing I will say though is it could have been much worse. There's a lot of people who are like, it didn't make it up yesterday, but there was a lady, for instance, that I was out hanging flyers, and she popped out, saw a thing. I could hear I was about half a house down. Does my yard look like it needs taking care of? Of course, in our mind, we've processed this thing. We're like, well, what if I just went around and put it on all the houses that don't look like it? That wouldn't be very impartial. And maybe you've got a sister outside town. Somebody told her, whatever. She wants a cheap alternative to the contract company. If there is such a headingable, cliched, entity or whatever. On the other hand, and I'm not saying the people I dealt with today were particularly affable, and the situation. I didn't actually have the owner of the car present. That helps a little, but what I'm saying is the guys I dealt with were super cool about it. I mean, he even said, I feel sorry for this guy having to deal with this. Because it's just it's a circumstance of juxtaposition of life now. Of course, sometimes I feel like all I can offer is my understanding or my recognition of your understanding. And then later on, the idea that we don't have proper terminology, because understanding isn't really necessarily fully descriptive, but he did, acknowledge that this isn't how I planned this day either. And of course, I just wanted to turn it back 3 minutes, 4 minutes and 5 and back to the days whenever they were open on Saturdays, but apparently that was for particular trucks or rental trucks or something. I don't know. And I don't feel like they were adequately compensated for the trouble. It's kind of how it is with anything, you know, insurances and stuff until you start spending big time buku bucks with some gold insurance company or something. I doubt you get a whole lot in the way of compensated for your time waiting at the rental place to get a rental car, for instance, or whatever, you know, the drive over there, anyhow. They were particularly cool about it, and though I'm sure there was some personal effort in order to achieve that air, it didn't come across as such. It came off as a natural and disalarming set of circumstances where, again, somebody could have been out there just berating the shit out of me because they don't feel so good about the 82 Olympics. I don't know. But that and oh, you're approaching Walmart. It's a Walmart I don't go in much. I'm sorry, I see a chick. I'm gonna have an initial interest level peak. So that's why I mentioned the popping wood thing, because it turns out the girl's potentially anywhere from probably 16 to 20, 22-ish. You just can't necessarily tell. And those fuckers that are I'm talking about watching on the camera, they're not the people in the Walmart watching the camera. I'm talking about the people that are intercepting, you know, probably don't even let a fucking camera get released until they can view it. You know, it's all built secondary to their observability. Well, they've been watching me since the Florida-matic days and shit, and they probably can't imagine controlling their own fucking situation. It's like, listen, I was in a married situation in my early 20s where it's this whole, yeah, maybe next month, Mom, roll over, you know. So, that's why I make mention of the guy. And again, here's a little bit of a view into the level on the parking garage where some people never ever quite make it to the ground level, you know. You've probably seen a number of those different little spaces. Of course, somebody would want to make it immediately descriptive progression of events whenever someone does or doesn't do this thing that you should do. But anyhow, not the greatest day. Could have been much worse. And we do appreciate the understanding and that it could have been much worse. We hope everything works out good, and you know, just ideally, whether I say I hope or not, it would be kind of cool if, you know, Monday instead of Saturday they take off and something novel and noteworthy were to take place, which was a good thing, you know, a positive thing. But that's probably my left eye making everything all crazy and dream statey. So instead we should rely on the fuckers who watch the cameras. Throw those guys a whatever is preferable to be thrown at your level type of situation. We were at low percentage, so we'll cook on out of here with probably about as many minutes as percentages in the beginning. Sorry about that, guys. Thanks for being cool about it. And we'll see you maybe later on tonight on How's This Mini. I'll probably come up with something here